My husband and I have been married 5 years. Shortly after we became pregnant with our son, everything seemed to be going great. And roughly about 3 weeks before, we had to have one last checkup. And I didn't even think my husband would need to come with me, just because it was just routine. And they kept doing more scans, and then they called the physician back to do some of the scans, and then that's when they told me it would be very important that I see a pediatric cardiologist now. And any time in the medical field you hear the word now, you just know it's going in a different direction. They scanned my son in womb for 2.5 hours, and then that's when they gave me the news. I don't recall hearing much past that your son doesn't have a whole heart. I actually called my husband.
I was doing a side job under a house, redoing some plumbing, and she said, our son has a heart problem. And my heart just sank.
Our baby was gonna have to have surgery less than a week after being born.
I sat there in a hole in the floor of a house, just wondering what did I do wrong. I was under a house, crawling under a house while she's getting this news by herself.
We went in the day before for our preoperative, and they decided they needed to do emergency C-section that day. It was just one intense moment right after the other. After they cut him out of our womb, they brought him straight out. They were so amazing. They actually took pictures for us. We got to see him for 1.5 minutes, and they had to take him off because you could already see how, they normally come out discolored, but he was already so blue in the face and arms and things, and they took him straight to NICU, where I didn't get to see him for 3 days. More or less hold him or touch him.
You can't explain just to see the miracle of your son, and then knowing that there's more to come.
To actually not ever get to hold him, and then that moment where they wheeled him away to surgery, and all you could do was just wave at the little incubator. It's just, you could never be prepared for your own child to go through that. And my husband and I just held each other, and we just said, oh God, please help us. We got a week home with our baby before we had to have our second open heart surgery.
And I was like, we just got home. Why do we have to do this all over again?
After another 4 weeks in the hospital, we got to take him home. He got to grow up, he got to play. He's been nothing but, a typical boy, and some would say he's above typical because he never stops moving. And unfortunately, 2 weeks ago when we went to see the cardiologist, his function of his heart has continued to decrease. The 2 valves that he has are leaking. Very possible we're either going to need a revision or a transplant soon.
Without people like y'all, I would only had a kid for 10 days. If we didn't have this research and the funding to help people.
Because 10 years ago, they would have given us a room to sit with our son and love him for 10 whole days before he would have died.
Now I have 4 years, and I'm looking for more. As we go, it's the only thing we can do is research and donating to help this research so the kids can grow up to be a kid, to have a life like we did.